You're listening to the Name Drop podcast, where we reveal the industry experts and brilliant founders behind the marketing campaigns and brands you know and love. In a world where things change fast and marketing is the opposite of static, we are here to reveal the marketing geniuses and how they find their inspiration, hoping to inspire you along the way. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Name Drop podcast. Today we're sitting down with a really interesting guest who leads growth marketing at one of America's most beloved brands right now. She is here to share a lot of interesting tidbits with us on the best growth tactics that are being leveraged today and how to network. I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Thank you. Hey.
Hello.
How are you today?
I'm doing amazing. The sun is out later. Yeah. It's a beautiful day here in LA, so life's good.
You're a daylight savings fan.
Oh, it's huge.
Really? No challenges getting up in the morning?
No, I was actually just on the East Coast, so it didn't really matter when I flew back anyway. I was going to be jet lagged.
That's fair.
Yeah, and it's amazing to be able to finish work, go outside and walk my dog and it not be pitch black.
Yeah.
So I'm enjoying, day 2?
I love that. Yeah, we are in LA today instead of New York, which is a beautiful thing. It's wonderful weather. The sun is out. I feel like I need to come here every winter for a little bit just so that I can feel alive again.
You should. LA was even getting cold for me. I was going to Miami for the last couple winters, which was really nice, but it is, today is beautiful. The sun is out. It feels so nice. Yeah. I'm loving it.
Yeah, it's great. Awesome. So tell me a little bit about what types of things you're thinking about professionally today. What's been challenging? What do you see as opportunities? What's top of mind?
Yeah, for me today, it's such an interesting year, right? Our customers, our consumers are really dealing with a lot, it being an election year. So I think that's, for me, always top of mind is meeting them where they are, making sure we're giving them the best possible experience, educating them about the product, adding value. So that's huge for me. And then I think, too, another big challenge is always performance.
Yeah.
Right? How the growth tactics that I used last year are not going to work this year. So how can we learn faster to make sure that we're testing, getting real-time insights and being able to action on that quickly? So obviously being in the growth space, performance is always huge.
Yeah. So do you have to basically reset your tactics every year? Is that something that you actively think about, or is it a rolling constant trial and error to some extent?
I would say it's rolling. Where I'm at currently, we have this amazing mindset of being innovative and really setting up parameters to allow ourselves to test. So I would say it's rolling due to the fact that we're always testing something new and figuring out, hey, is this test successful? Can it be scalable so that we can keep up with those trends?
That's awesome. And then do you ever change your success metrics, or do those stay pretty much consistent?
That's a really interesting question. I think for the most part, they do stay consistent. Given where I'm at in the performance space, obviously revenue is always going to be top of mind. ROAS is obviously a huge one, but then as we evolve into, hey, we have some new brand KPIs to hit, I think that's where there are new ones, and really looking at what, based on your company, what is actually that metric that works for you and is what you need to hit.
Yeah, I agree. So brag about yourself a little bit. What are you better at than anybody else?
Ooh, well, I feel like I actually have a lot of passions, not just one thing. I love to dabble in everything, which is probably why I've already had one career pivot under my belt.
What was the pivot?
I actually started out in politics.
Did you?
Yes.
Interesting.
I was a digital consultant for several years.
Okay.
Went through the 2014, 2016, 2018 cycle.
Wow.
Passed a statewide prop in California, which I'm always very proud of.
That's amazing.
So yeah, that was where I got my start in, and then moved on over to D2C media e-commerce.
Interesting. What motivated you to make the change?
I think I really just wanted a new challenge.
Yeah.
You start out in your career with a certain set of data of, I like this is where I want to go, and then you learn Yeah. And so there definitely came a time where I was ready to just move on to a new challenge, and made that transition and found myself in the wellness space, which I always say is still really close to those roots of wanting to be in a place where I can help make people's lives better.
That's awesome. I feel like most guests that we've had in our short time of having this podcast, no one starts off thinking that they're going to work in the job that they're in. Like, these paths are not linear. There's a lot of jumping around typically. And I still think that's not the story, though, that most people get when they're in high school or college. It's like, pick a path and be on the path. And that's just not reality at all.
It's not. And you learn that pretty quickly post-school. I think that's true. Yeah, that's why it's so important to try everything. If you like something, try it out.
Yeah.
Because I definitely did not think I would be in the e-commerce space. I was always very digital media inclined. So pulled that thread, and here I am.
I love it. So back to the bragging.
Mm-hmm.
Continue.
I am also celebrating my 3-year workiversary at my current role, which is really exciting. Talk about a fun, exciting place to be. So it's been wonderful to grow there. I'm still challenged every day, have an amazing team, love it, and I get to be a part of this purpose-driven brand. So, going back to my political roots again, it's just been the best place for me to be.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So speaking of D2C and growth marketing and your experience, most recent experience, I guess, how do you think about balancing acquisition of new customers versus retention of existing customers? What's your approach?
Yeah, I don't know if it's even really a balance. Like, I always say, prioritize retention.
Okay.
I think it's really, really important to build that foundation. So when you do acquire new customers, they don't just fall off right away.
Mm-hmm.
And a part of that, especially in e-commerce these days, is building that relationship with the customer. So getting to know your customer, making sure you understand what they want, how they're responding to everything you're doing is definitely at the core of what I like to do and what I'm currently doing. And then I'll say between acquisition and retention, you can really center them around data. I think personalization and automation are such buzzwords these days,
mm-hmm.
and you can't do that without data. And part of that is acquisition, a lot of it's retention, a lot of it is getting to know your customers and having that two-way conversation.
I love that. And I think so often, and it seems like there's a shift happening with this trend, which I'm happy to see. It's just been all about growth. Mm-hmm. Get as many new customers in the pipeline as possible, growth at all costs. And it's really nice to hear people talking more about retention, talking more about profitability, and not just thinking about the top line going up. So I think
very important.
It is. And it shouldn't be undervalued, but it shouldn't be the only thing either.
Oh, definitely not.
If you have a leaky bucket and all the customers are falling out of the bottom, it doesn't really matter how many new customers you add.
Exactly. I think that's something that a lot of brands who have maybe over prioritized acquisition start to see when competition catches up to you and your CAC starts to rise. Where do you have to pivot?
Right.
And so that's to me why retention is such a key component of growth, and then really efficient acquisition and making sure the left hand is talking to the right hand is how you win today.
And what types of tactics are you seeing that are working when it comes to growth and acquisition?
What I think is working and what I love to see is when brands build channel first. So what I mean by that is let's take a look at TikTok. We're seeing, I have definitely brands I love to follow. And then this is top of mind for me in my current role is making sure that we're designing content that is engaging and our customers' like specifically for TikTok. You're not seeing Instagram content or Reddit content or even an OTT spot come up on TikTok, right? You're getting that native engaging content. And I think that's how brands can really drive growth today, is really taking a look at your channel mix and understanding what goes where and how you can build better creative for each of those channels.
Yeah, I think it's important. You can't take the same asset and just try to stretch it everywhere. The same message. No, it's so weird. Even now, like taking an Instagram reel or taking a TikTok and trying to put it on an Instagram reel, it just feels bizarre. It's like, we all know this wasn't really meant to be here.
Yeah, and there's so many I love to see this in our industry. There's so many new channels that D2C brands get to play on now. Like, we're seeing it with digital out of home or linear TV. And I think it's amazing and it's super fun, but it's also a strain on the team, right? Being able to keep up with all those creative demands of, hey, we can now run a linear spot for performance and track that and attribute it, but we also need to make sure the house is still in order over here on paid social.
Right.
So it does, it's exciting, but it presents new challenges.
For sure. Well, I feel like, 3-5 years ago, Google and Meta like really were having their heyday when it comes to acquisition for D2C brands, and you could go and build your campaigns and just like optimize and hammer new customers. As that has changed and those two platforms aren't the effective or efficient, really, powerhouses that they once were, what types of challenges have you guys faced or have you faced as you've like rethought acquisition channels?
I think a big one first, right, that we all got a little caught up on is attribution, really understanding your channel mix and what is doing what. And I think now the new challenge is almost incrementality, right? If Facebook and Google ROAS or performance is looking really good, but the top line isn't growing, like, you have to dig in there and you have to understand, hey, if I make this change on this channel, can I actually drive incremental growth, leveraging those savings on another channel, and what are those channels? So that's something that for me currently, I'm always looking at, hey, what channels are actually driving the new customer growth? How can I build that into our evergreen testing roadmap? How can I make sure that we're getting those insights back in real time so we can execute quickly? Because the speed at which you're able to gauge these performances by channel on is really, really valuable.
Yeah.
Our industry moves quick, so you got to move with it.
That is true. Yeah, or you're going to get left behind.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. What do you think the future holds for D2C brands?
D2C brands in general, I don't know, the possibility is probably endless. E-commerce is always going to grow. I think, we love being able to buy. Well, personally, I'll speak to myself. Personally, love to be able to buy anywhere I can, right? And it to the easiest path to conversion. And so that, to me, is really e-commerce. Obviously, there's Amazon, there's TikTok Shop. There's so many new points of sales, and D2C brands are being so agile and being able to adjust to those trends, changes in user behavior. And so I think it's also really, really important for brands overall to invest in their D2C channels, because it is the one place where you get to own that relationship with the customer. And I don't think anyone wants to lose that. Agreed. Right? That is so important. And I know I already mentioned this, but that's also how you get your data.
Yeah.
And that's how you make your acquisition campaigns better. That's how you make better experiences on retention for your customers, is actually being able to get more quality data, make up for some of these lost signals that we've alluded to on maybe some of the bigger channels, and still run really efficient campaigns that create that ecosystem for your customers, and they have just a seamless journey throughout.
Yeah, I agree. We had a guest on a few weeks ago who was talking about, he works at an e-commerce company, and he was saying there's been no better time to have a D2C e-commerce brand because of the technology that exists today and the Shopify ecosystem evolutions. And yes, there are always going to be inherent challenges with it, but there's more now than ever before. He had a very optimistic take on things, which I think is good, always good to hear.
Yeah, it's definitely difficult and challenging, but that's the fun part, right?
Yeah.
And to me too, you always want to be where your customer's at. So playing into retail, it's super exciting to see other brands, D2C brands, right, born in D2C, grow into retail. Where I'm at currently, we've had kind of a similar journey, or the opposite journey. And so it's just great to see that no matter what, D2C brands, because we're built having to be agile, we can adjust to wherever our customers are.
Right. So what relationship has had the most impact on you professionally over the years?
Ooh, I like this question. Actually, my first boss.
Yeah.
She'll hate that I say that I call her boss, but because she really became my mentor, best friend, big sister. But she really took me under my wing back in my DC political days, which you really need someone to do. And she's such a sales a salesperson, but also a strategist, which I think is really rare, and that definitely rubbed off on me a lot. I think I'm able to, switch here and there and be really responsive and do a lot of things because of her early influence on me. Definitely able to take on a lot, ride the waves, and do things really efficiently. I think my favorite thing she ever told me was work smarter. And so that's probably why I've also ended up in growth. It's like, what is that most efficient pathway?
Right. Yeah.
So, she's been great. And I also I'll shout out, I have an amazing circle of entrepreneurial women in my life that are just so inspiring. They do so many different things, but it's great to have that support system to always be able to go to for support, bounce ideas off of, inspiration. So those are definitely the two big ones.
How have you built that network?
It definitely takes time.
Yeah.
Especially when you move to different locations, right? You're almost rebuilding every time. But it's just really getting yourself out there, making the time. I think that's how I've done that, is prioritizing it.
Yeah.
Community doesn't just happen. You have to be intentional about it. So I know we're all so tired and have so much to do. So it's really taking stock of, hey, what are the important things to me? And for me, that really is my community.
That's awesome. I agree. You do have to prioritize it. Otherwise, there's only limited hours in a day. So it's not going to happen unless it's something that you really put the intention towards.
Yeah, definitely. Get on Bumble BFF.
Yeah.
Go to those hot girl walks.
Yeah.
Go to events. Like, you will end up meeting people that you can bring into your community.
That's awesome. We were at an event last night, and someone we were with said, if you leave this event and have met like 2 to 3 interesting people, then it was a huge success. And I was like, oh, that's a great way to think about events moving forward.
Yeah, I would say just one.
Yeah, right? Like, have one meaningful conversation. It's like, okay, that was worth it.
Yeah, exactly. And then the follow-up.
Yes, always the follow-up.
Yeah, be curious about people, ask questions while you're there, but also make sure you follow up with them if you're there with someone you find that is inspirational or worth bringing in.
Definitely. So tell us who you are. What do you do? The big reveal.
Oh, how exciting. I'm Brooke Cullison. I'm the Director of Ecom and Media at Liquid IV, which means I oversee our acquisition, retention, and media channels.
Amazing.
And for those who don't know Liquid IV, we're the #1 powdered hydration brand in America, and we have an assortment of hydration products that also have functional benefits. So we have our hydration multiplier, we have products that focus on or add on immune support, sleep, probiotics, and energy.
Awesome.
And yeah, I love it. I'm an avid fan of the product, which makes my job all that more fun.
Seriously, that's great. Cool. Well, what a fun job, a big job. So tell us, what does a day in the life look like? Like, what's your typical work day?
I feel like in this industry, we all kind of say the same thing. No day looks the same.
It changes every single day.
Every single day. I could be doing something different. One day I could be reallocating spend across our different media channels, optimizing, pulling data, looking for insights to actually have the team execute on. The next day could be reforecasting our demand plan, because obviously I oversee that piece of liquidiv.com, making sure that we have the right timelines together for our new product launches. We just launched our new raspberry melon sugar-free hydration multiplier product, which was really fun, but that's a big launch.
Yeah.
And that's very different than what I do on the other side of the team, side of the business, which is maybe optimizing our brand media campaigns. I'll also say a lot of my role too is team building. I'm really fortunate to have an amazing team, and so a big part of my job is making sure they are supported and have the resources they need to lead their channels.
That's amazing. What types of things do you do for team building?
Definitely have multiple touch points with your team. I think collaborative, but also one-on-one. At Liquid IV, we have a value of rocks. So that means the big things that you have to get done that week, those are the things you focus on. Everything else, you got to put those in the jar first, and then everything else can be the sand that fills in the jar. If you did it the opposite way, the rocks would not fit. So that is something I love about our current company. We have our one-on-ones, which I am very religious about. So every week, Mondays, I meet with the team, make sure that we agree on what the rocks are, and then follow up as a full team a couple times a week to make sure that we're all just super aligned. That is the only way I think you can stay as agile as we need to be.
I love that. So you're reprioritizing every week.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, at least.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, as you know, things could change within a couple days.
For sure.
If not a week. So you definitely have to have those touch points.
Yeah. And do you prep for your weeks like on Sunday? Are you like a Monday morning prepper?
Me. I do. I definitely have a Sunday night block where I have to look at my calendar for the week. And then every day at the end of the day, I have a calendar block as well, which I highly recommend.
I love that.
Make sure you're looking at your calendar for the next day, and it is aligning to those priorities, and you're able to actually also have time to work.
Yeah, I love that. I am finding as I ask people more about how they structure their weeks, high performers seem to always have like a very specific way that they have a schedule, but then they allow the schedule to change, and they look at it at different points throughout the week to make those adjustments. And it's really interesting to hear. I was talking to someone the other week, and she was saying that she like has things that she tries to do on one half of the week, and then the team tries to do another set of activities on the other half of the week, mm-hmm. which I thought was interesting. I've never heard it done like that before, but it's cool to hear the different methodologies. I like the rocks.
I love rocks. Liquid IV has been so good at creating this culture.
Yeah.
And so it's been a great place to work at. That's how we can continue to be innovative too, and really do the best, create the best experience for our customers, right? If we have our ducks in a row.
Yeah. No, I mean, it does mirror. If you're organized internally, I feel like it then showcases out to your customers too. Mm-hmm. So what is the best part of your current role? What's the high and the low?
Oh, high and low. I would say high is just the challenge. It's so fun to come to a job where every day you're learning something new still, right? I mentioned I've been there for 3 years, and I am still growing, still being challenged, still learning new things from my team, from my coworkers, from our partners. So that is such an amazing part of the role. The low, I would say, is just not winning. I'm competitive, and I don't like when I feel like we haven't given our customers either the best experience or enough maybe information or education to win their purchase. At the end of the day, like, that is what we're here to do, is, get hydration in the hands of our customers. And so not winning that on a daily basis hurts a little.
Yeah. No, I get
but we're
that.
always improving.
For sure. So you spend a lot of time in your job looking at data, numbers.
Mm-hmm. I love data.
Forecasting, reforecasting, like measuring a success, measuring a loss. Mm-hmm. I think so often people don't realize how a lot of marketing jobs are so numbers oriented, and it's like a game of not chess, but you're kind of constantly betting on yourself and the work that you're doing, mm-hmm. and then seeing the outcomes and making adjustments to the next activations based off of that, which I think is fun.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah.
And that's a step you can't miss, right? Like, if you execute something, have an activation, and you're like, oh yeah, that felt good, but you don't actually look at what it did or have parameters to measure success, right? Then how do you learn and adjust moving forward? Totally. And so that's a big one, is making that time and maybe having that process built into your team of, hey, we did this, let's take a moment, let's celebrate, and then let's look at the results and figure out what that cycle of feedback is, so we can do better next time or replicate.
At 21, did you ever think you would be doing what you're doing now? It sounds like no, since you were working in politics.
Yeah, no, I definitely wanted to be, at 21, I wanted to be a digital director on a political campaign. Okay. Who's to say that maybe I will someday?
Yeah, I was going to say, you never know.
Yeah, you really never know. But yeah, I did the political thing. It was great. I met a lot of amazing people, worked with a lot of amazing partners as well. And now I've bounced on over to wellness, which is another space that I love. And so it's kind of, for me, it's been very like a natural journey.
Yeah.
Definitely not probably the most linear, but it's I feel like this is where I was supposed to be.
Yeah, like the steps make sense.
Yeah.
What piece of advice would you give to someone who's looking to get into growth marketing?
Always be learning. So this is something that is so important to me. Even when I was in politics, one of the things I always did was download or use every new channel. So whether that is Be Real or whatever the next new thing is, Instagram Threads, right? Making sure that I use it as a user first and really understand, like, okay, what are the user behaviors? How are we using this? What do we like about it? So then you can go and take that back into your work and really understand the channels that you're leveraging to reach your audience. So that's a big one. And then we've kind of talked about this already, but building a network.
So
right?
important.
So important. I think when I really started to take that more seriously, I saw the change in my daily work. I went out, built and there are really small things you can do. Like I just went on Twitter one day, built a list of all the people that were speaking about this industry that I liked, and only looked at that list. I was trying to get my Twitter time down.
I love that.
Or like actually creating the habit of going on LinkedIn daily for the content, which I think is people are posting amazing content these days on both Twitter and LinkedIn. There's so much to consume, so many good podcasts out there too to listen to. And then the going and meeting people in real life. Yeah. Right? And going to those events, finding those people you connect with, keeping in contact with them. Like it is so fun to be able to meet people doing the same thing that you are and learning from them. So I would say definitely just stay as curious as possible.
I love that. Yeah, I think people are overwhelmed a lot by the idea of like networking and building those connections. But to your point, there are easy ways to start. It doesn't have to be like, okay, I'm going to host a dinner with 15 other D2C marketers. Like that's you can do it that way, but
people are already doing that. I'm going to dinner tonight. Are you?
But I think there are small steps you can take by like refining your feeds to get the type of content that you want, or asking somebody to get coffee. Like that's such an easy.
And people love it.
Yes.
Like we should not be scared to just message someone that you are inspired by or like their work. Like you see a brand put out a really great OTT ad, like go find them on LinkedIn and say, hey, I really liked your OTT ad. Would love to just chat about trends. Yeah. Right? That's the message.
Totally. I think that's great. Yeah, people love talking about themselves too and their thoughts and ideas. So it is an easy tee up, I think.
It is. And once you get older too, you realize that. I think it's really, right at 21, probably didn't have the same confidence I do now because I didn't know. Now you know that people love to talk about themselves. They love to talk to others.
Yes. And if they say no, okay.
Yeah. There's plenty of us.
Yeah, exactly. You'll find somebody else. Yeah. Awesome. Okay, so let's do a quick round to wrap things up of trendy or tragic. So I'll give you something and you give me your take. Okay. Ad Age Agency Awards. They were all announced this week. Trendy or tragic?
I say trendy.
Yeah.
Why not? We should. Celebrate. I just watched the Oscars, so I'm like, why not? Let's celebrate each other.
Yeah, I like that. That's a positive take.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm like, I feel like people just pay to get the award and they have to have connections. That's how they win. Maybe I'm just being jaded, but
maybe
I like the take of we should celebrate the wins.
Yeah, so let's celebrate the wins. Good. Never compare yourself to anyone else. Fair. We're all doing our own thing.
Yeah, that's true. Everyone's doing their best. Amazing. Olipop and their like micro influencer approach, trendy or tragic?
Are they doing a lot of micro influencers? Because I know I follow their competitor, which I love both of them.
Poppy?
Yes. Okay. I'm a big soda person.
Okay.
So
so you're in on the probiotic sodas.
Oh, yes, obviously.
Yeah. I was reading predictions for Expo later this week, and they were saying that like the Olipops, the Poppies, the functional wellness sodas are like going to be everywhere. Like there's just brand after brand trying to do something in that space. So I'm curious to see what the competition looks like. But I think Olipop has done a really good job of like tapping into niche, small content creators. I won't even call them that. I think more just like micro influencers and just seeding product everywhere. I feel like Liquid IV does a good job with that too. So
we love our community of micro influencers. They are an amazing part of our strategy. So 100% say trendy. Like that is, and that again goes back to relationship building too. And I'm sure Olipop is doing a great job of that, of making sure that you're bringing your influencers in, your partners in, and making them understand the brand story and having extra people to help tell you that.
Totally. And just get people product.
Yeah.
It makes all the difference. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's awesome. And then paid membership programs.
Oh, I do love a paid membership program. I feel like you asked that because Liquid IV does have a paid membership program right now, and we've seen amazing success from it. And we're constantly, it's been really interesting. I think we just came up on a year of launching that, and it's been really exciting to have another route to chat with to get to know our customers and understanding their needs. So we've been just having an ear to the ground for the last year and understanding how they're reacting to that program.
That's cool.
But I feel like Erewhon, we were inspired by like an Erewhon and REI that has those paid membership programs, which I'm a huge fan of. And I think there's something really interesting of getting that immediate access and creating that value immediately for your customer. I think that's something that we're always trying to figure out how to do better, is unlocking value for our most loyal customers. So I say any type of membership loyalty program, trendy.
Yeah. I agree. Especially when you're a brand like you guys are that has super fans that want to be in the know, that want to feel like they're in the inner circle. Mm-hmm. I think it's a great option for that. I feel like people used to do like Facebook groups and have their, super fans like be a part of a Facebook group.
Yeah, that was a big one for us too.
Was it?
Yeah.
Now it's so cool to see how that's evolved into like much more sophisticated engagement programs and benefits and loyalty perks. It's cool to see.
Yeah, so definitely. Awesome. That's another amazing thing about our industry, that we can be so creative like that, because again, we own that relationship with the customer, and then always having the data to understand like, okay, what should we do next? How can we provide better value for our customers? What will excite them next?
Yeah.
So it's fun to be able to pivot like that quickly and always be creating.
Amazing. Well, I'm excited to see what you guys do next then for your customers.
Stay tuned.
I feel like there's always more to come. Awesome.
We have a big year.
Good. Well, thank you so much for joining us. This is super fun. Tell people where they can find you.
Yes, please go to liquid-iv.com. And then for me, I'm always happy to accept any LinkedIn requests. It's Brooke Cullison. So yeah.
You might have people asking you to get coffee.
I love coffee. So I welcome it.
Love it. Awesome. Well, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Temperatures are rising, but that doesn't mean your hydration levels should drop. Fuel all of life's adventures with Liquid IV. With 2 times faster hydration than water alone, 3 times the electrolytes of traditional sports drinks, and 5 essential vitamins, Liquid IV will keep your adventures flowing. New customers can use the code NAMEDROP for 20% off of their first purchase. Again, that's NAMEDROP for 20% off of your first purchase. All right, so you guys can find us on Instagram at namedrop.pod, and I'm at Malbakes. Thanks so much.